Well, I'm rapidly unleashing the reputation I have as a technological pterodactyl. And I've been checking the blogs. And it's fascinating to me to read the blogs. And there's this one in Davis. I don't know who they are, the People's Vanguard of Davis. It's so refreshing, because when you get them agreeing with that fellow who writes for the Enterprise, who I never thought would be agreeing with the left, what seems like a left-wing blog. It's fascinating. So I'm really going to start reading blogs, because I have to readjust my thought processes a little. But I just want to read a couple of things from this, because this is how I feel. And I thought it was interesting, given that I'm not really a lefty, although Mr. Homan would probably say that I was. The question of pay raises for elected officials is always a controversial topic. The fundamental reason for that is that most legislative bodies have to actually vote for their own pay raises. The process makes the act of granting a pay raise, no matter how needed, fundamentally unseemly. And that's why we're all a little embarrassed, because it's an unseemly discussion of your worth, how you see yourself and how you see your success and your and how well you have done your job. Most people do that in a closed personnel session with their boss, and they get rated and they get told. Well, not us. We go through this thing called elections, and that's where you are rated and where you are seen as effective or not. And so it is unseemly to be sitting here talking about whether we deserve or don't deserve a pay raise. And then you have, as Mr. Homan very nicely put in front of us today, the general distrust for the work that governmental bodies do. Mr. Homan, and I don't mean to personalize, but since you are the person who came forward, I'm going to, has not been pleased with the Board of Supervisors on Conway Ranch. He's not been pleased with SMUD, and he's certainly not pleased today with the Board of Supervisors discussion of salaries. So he has a basic distrust of the work that government does. Others do, and that's why it is so hard to discuss salaries. And it's why, as you noted earlier, Prop 143 has a pay commission in it, which sets the salaries of legislators. Legislators have nothing to do with their salaries, other than to, as some do, take them and then give them to charity. Mm-hmm. So we're in this awkward position. So this gentleman, and I would love to meet him, I have no clue who he is, I have never really been bothered personally by the prospect of a pay raise. The reason for that is that legislative bodies are generally paid sufficiently less than comparable private sector jobs. Now, my daughter is almost more than half my age. She is more than half my age. She is a nurse, and she is paid an incredible salary to be a nurse. Did I choose to go back to nursing? No. I keep my registration current so that I could if I needed to or wanted to. But I have done my nursing through public service in the community. Should I be paid for that? I don't know. I made a choice. But I have something that not a lot of other people have, and that's a very supportive husband who earns a very good salary. And I happen to believe in the core of my being that democracy ought to be represented by people who just don't have to have a spouse who supports them. And that has been the tradition for women in this country for many generations. Mm-hmm. And I thought we were working our way out of that until I hear this morning, again, this discussion. So unless you're independently wealthy, and there's certainly a lot of those people around who run for public office. In fact, one recently spent, was it $15 million on a campaign for a treasurer? I don't know which office it was, I've forgotten, but it was an awful lot of money.
How about $37 million for governor?
Well,
and that was on our side.
That's I won't go there, but the other one was amazing. So unless you're really independently wealthy, or you are someone with a spouse who has a strong second income, kiss off serving in public life. Mm-hmm. City council members make $500 a month. They work hard too. They don't work as full-time as the members of the Board of Supervisors. A school board member maybe makes $150 plus maybe an annual conference at CSBA. And that's what they do, and that's their contribution. And they would not argue that they aren't well paid. They do it for a lot of very altruistic reasons, and God love them. Mark Twain said that school board members have a guaranteed place in heaven, and having served on a school board, I would agree with that, so I'm really hoping that that's true. But I really want to say that it is embarrassing to talk about what's one's own salary. It is embarrassing to have to say to the public, I do a good job, I'm worth this, etc. And so I think I agree with Supervisor McGowan. Let the people decide through an election. Now, in 1986, I ran for the Board of Supervisors, and that happened to be one of the issues. Should boards of supervisors be paid in Yolo County? That time they weren't. Well, we had that debate then. The unfortunate thing is we never put a process in place that satisfied anybody, and guess what? Nobody ever will. Because people believe that politicians, elected officials, do not earn the money that they get. And that is just a simple matter of fact. And I have not figured out how to change that, except that when the question is asked, do you like teachers? The answer is usually no. Do you like your child's teacher? The answer is yes. Phi Beta Kappa study for many, many years. Do you like congressmen? No. Do you like your congressman? Yes. And I have been privileged beyond any imagination or thought on my part, just privileged to have had the support of the people in my community for these many years to serve in public life. And I have enjoyed it tremendously, whatever the salary was. But it is going to be harder and harder and harder as we go forward in this country and in this county to recruit thoughtful, good people to make good decisions for the community without a salary that is a livable salary. It will not be possible. And that's shown all over the country, all over the world. It just is. So I'll support Mike's thing to put it off till 2008. Some of you will say, well, that's self-serving. You're taking office in January of 2007. You'll be here for 4 more years. Yes, I will. Will you work as hard whether you're paid $40,000 or $70,000? Yes, I will. And yes, I will take it if it is there. Thank you.